Y'all know what's going on. It's time for another episode of Doing Time with Joe. I'm your host, Joe Baker. Welcome to the show, y'all. Check this out, y'all. This story right here, this is one for the ages. Like, I'm not joking with y'all. This is one of those stories that most people are not ever aware of. They don't ever hear this type of triangle, the things that are going to go on in this story. So just sit back, y'all, and listen to what I got to say on this one. Right? This is about this guy named Jason, right? Now, Jason had this friend named Cory. Now, Jason and Cory are both in the street selling dope, right? Doing that thing, you know what I'm saying, and getting, quite a bit of money while they were doing it, right? Now, Jason had this girlfriend. Her name is Melissa, right? So here's what happened. Let me give you the backstory to the whole thing, right? Now, Jason and Cory, they catch a case. Sealed indictments. You know what I'm saying? They've been rocking it out there for a while, you know what I'm saying? And getting away with it, making plenty of money, doing all this and that, right? Now, Jason and Cory, like I said, they get popped. They got popped. And they got charged with possession, distribution, all of that old kind of stuff. You know what I'm saying? I'm talking, they were looking at some serious time, right? And they were hoping that, the feds didn't pick it up, which they got lucky on that one. The feds didn't pick it up, but still, the state had them on so many different charges and so much time they were facing so much time that it got serious for them right now. Jason was not that dude. You feel what I'm saying? He wasn't built that way. Now, in the dope game, I want to tell this story because I want you to understand how raw and cut it is, uncut it is, and how people, they can pretend to be something that they're not. But when the time comes, when the rubber meets the road, when the baby is due, you find out who people are in this stuff, in this street stuff. You feel what I'm saying? But the only time that you find out what they're made of is when the baby is due. Like I said, when the rubber meets the road. And that's what I want you to focus on in this story, because here's the thing. Keep this in mind throughout this whole story, all these episodes that I'm going to do about this, right? Keep this one thing in mind. People learn one of two ways. You feel me? They either learn by listening or doing. You understand? Most people learn by doing. I want you to take this story and learn by listening. Because when you learn by listening, that means that you have gained a certain level of wisdom where you don't have to actually go through whatever it is that I'm talking about, whatever it is that anybody's talking about, to understand that that's not what you want to do. Okay? And this is what this story is about. Now, let me get back to Jason. Now, Jason caught all of these cases. Him and Cory got all of these cases, facing a lot of time. They're looking at maybe 30 or 40 years in the penitentiary, right? Now, what percentage it was, he didn't even know. The point of it is Jason didn't care. He didn't care what percentage it was going to be. He didn't care that his lawyer might be able to beat it. He didn't care about any of that. All Jason wanted was to stay free. Period. Stay free. He played the game, but he didn't want to deal with the consequences of what it was that he was facing. You understand? So when the opportunity came, well, actually, he didn't even wait on the opportunity. He told his lawyer to go tell the district attorney that he would be a cooperating witness if he could get immunity and stay on the streets. Now, keep in mind, nobody in this case, they didn't have any violent charges. They were not those types of drug dealers where they would beat up people and toting guns. And all. They were just money getters. You feel what I'm saying? They were just money getters. And they were in their early 20s and all that. But they had been getting away with it since they were teenagers. And Jason did not want to go to prison under any circumstances whatsoever. He enjoyed doing what he was doing. He was popular. Everybody knew him and all this and that. But this is one thing that he didn't count for. He didn't account for once you cross that line. Once you cross that line and become a cooperating witness, things change with you in the streets according to, how other people will be looking at you, right? But he didn't even factor that in. And in fact, I don't think he even cared. So when his lawyer goes to the DA and tells the DA, look, my client is willing to cooperate. So what can we do? What kind of deal can we get? And the DA was like, look, if he gives us everything that we want, he can stay out. No big deal to us. You feel what I'm saying? Because the DA looked at it like this. People like Jason, in the DA's mind, don't change when they're that young. So he looked at it like, okay, we can get him later. Right now, let's go ahead and get his charge partner, Cory. Knock him straight out the box. Now, Melissa, she's with Jason. She loves him. She's been with him for 3 or 4 years. You understand what I'm saying? And she wanted to have his baby, but she hadn't been able to get pregnant yet and all of these different types of things. So here we go. Jason strikes a deal with the DA to testify against Cory. Now, Cory was blind to the fact that these things happen when it's best friends. They were best friends. He listened to all the hype. Now, Jason played the role until he couldn't play it anymore, right? Because Cory's lawyer kept telling him, look, is there any chance that your charge partner, Jason, will turn states on you? Cory was like, no, absolutely not. Absolutely not. Well, when Cory's lawyer got word that Jason was testifying, he let Cory know. Cory was heartbroken, broke him down. He was pissed. But like I said, these two dudes are not violent individuals. You feel what I'm saying? They're not on that. They just want to get their bread. You see what I'm saying? Now, Cory is doing what a lot of people do when they find out somebody's testifying against them in the streets. Well, this is what he did. Because they're both of them out on bond, okay? Let me make sure you understand that. Both of them are out on bond. Now, the streets would dictate, y'all know how the streets dictate, snitches get stitches, right? Cory's supposed to take care of that business, right? But like I said, Cory's not a violent dude. So Cory did what a lot of people do when they don't want to take care of the business themselves. He stirred the pot. Now, he's stirring the pot. When I say stirring the pot, what I mean by that is he started telling people in the streets, man, dude testifying against me, dude testifying against me. And what he was hoping for is that somebody in the streets would be so pissed off about Jason becoming a rat that they would deal with him. But that's not what happened. Another lie of how the streets works, y'all. It's not how it happens. This ain't TV. So here's the thing. Now, Jason is still out there in the streets. Cory is still out there in the streets. They're dipping and dabbing, even though they got these charges. But Cory is more laid back because now he's really concerned. I'm going to the penitentiary. I got to start getting my affairs in order. That's what his lawyer told him. Get your affairs in order. So he started to make sure he got money put up. He's got people that he trusted to be able to take care of the things that he'll need to be taken care of while he's in prison. He's talking to people that have been to prison before so he can learn, the do's and the don'ts because he's never been to prison before. So he's preparing himself mentally. He starts to go to the gym and work out and all of these things. He's trying to get his mind right because he knows he's going to be gone for a while. Now, Melissa, Jason's girl, she's trying to comfort Cory and tell him, look, everything is going to be okay. She just don't believe that Jason is doing it because she's going by what her man said. She loved Jason. But she also looks at Cory like a brother because they've all sort of been in this together. Melissa's been along for the ride. And she's just heartbroken that Cory thinks that Jason is testifying against him, but he is. And Jason keeps lying to her, telling her that it's not true because he don't want her to think that he's some kind of sucker. But he's actually doing this. So here we go. The day of the trial comes. Jason gets on the stand and he testifies. He tells them everything that they've been doing. Everything. He puts everything at the feet of Cory. A lot of the stuff he was making up. He made up the part about the plug and all of this and that because he wanted to maintain that plug. He needed to maintain that plug, and I'm going to explain that to you later on so you'll understand how the streets really work, okay? It's simple. It's not complicated stuff. You don't have to be a rocket scientist to understand this stuff, right? So anyway, he gets up and he testifies, right? Cory don't even take the stand. There's nothing that he can say. Nothing that he can say. He can get up there, of course, and try to flip it on Jason, but the state has made a deal with Jason, so it's irrelevant. It's irrelevant. He's not going to prison. Cory is. As simple as that. So the jury gets the case. They go back. They come back within an hour guilty on all charges. Cory gets sentenced right then and there. He get about 30 years. He's gone. They take him into custody, and that's over with. He goes to prison. Now, Melissa, she's watched this whole trial. It took over 3 or 4 days. She watched this whole trial. And the whole time she's sitting there, she's thinking in her mind, he lied to me. He didn't tell me the truth. He had me thinking that he was not testifying against Cory. She's thinking about all of these things. So she confronts him on it. And she asked him, she said, why did you lie to me? Why did you not tell me the truth? You could have told me the truth. And he comes with all of these things. He breaks down. You know how it goes. He breaks down. He tells her, if I would have told you the truth, you would have left me. Plus, now check this out. Plus, he throws in there, because he's one of these dudes, he don't want to take responsibility for nothing. So he throws in there, he said, they told me not to say nothing. They told me not to say nothing. And she said, well, you could have trusted me. He said, I was scared. I didn't know what to do. I ain't never been in this situation. And that's believable to an extent. A lot of people, when they first get caught up in stuff like that, they pretend that they got it all together, but most people really don't know what's going on, how it's going to happen, and all of the different nuances that come with after you catch a case. Most people don't know. And even if you do know from secondhand, when you're in the middle of that, it's so overwhelming that you really just respond to whatever your lawyer is telling you to do, because you're in the most vulnerable, most desperate situation that you're ever going to be in your life when you get caught up with the police, because now your freedom is at risk. So you're listening to the people that have been doing this, like your lawyer, the DA, and all of these other people, the police. You're listening to these people, hoping that you can trust them, knowing that you can't. You understand what I'm saying? Because you've seen what happened to people, other people that get caught up in this, and you're hoping that you're going to be the one that'll be different. So Jason is using all of these manipulative tactics to try to convince Melissa not to leave him, and she falls for it. She falls for it. So she stays with him now. And they are, trying to pretend that everything is okay. He's telling her that he's going to take care of Cory. It's not going to be that bad. And these lines saying he's going to help Cory, fight it on appeal and all this and that. Come on now. What can he actually do for Cory on the appeal when he's the witness? You understand what I'm saying? There's nothing that he can do to help Cory. It's all about him lying, selfish, trying to make sure that he secures his down with Melissa. And now he's got another problem. The streets are talking. Because it's one thing for people to say he's testifying. It's another for him to actually do it. And he actually did it. And the streets are talking. It was on TV, it's in the newspapers, it's in the streets. Everybody's talking about how Jason turned on Cory. Jason turned on Cory. And now, all of a sudden, the streets are looking at him crazy. But let me tell you something about the streets. Because everybody think that the streets is this and the streets is that and all this and that. The streets is just like the penitentiary. If you got that bag, you straight. Period. Yeah, they don't like you. They'll talk about you when you're not there. They'll talk about you behind your back and all this. And they'll even try to get you gay. They'll try to do all of these sneaky things, but they're not going to really cut you off because you got that bag and they're eating off your plate. That's how it is. And if you don't think that's how it is, look here, check this out. Think of the people in your neighborhood right now that you know that have been hustling forever. And think about those individuals that you have heard that have turned states or done this and done that or got out of prison this way or that way, whatever the case may be, and tell me how many people in the street still messing with them. It might not be all of them, but some of them are. And you would think that if the thing is true about snitches get stitches, then you would think that wouldn't nobody mess with them, but that ain't true. That ain't true. People at the end of the day want to eat. And if they got to eat off the plate of somebody that they can't trust, they're going to trick themselves into believing that it ain't going to happen to them, or they got a way to make sure it don't happen to them as long as they continue to eat. You know what I'm saying? And that's what it is. So stop being a fool and thinking that it goes like it. Yeah, on rare occasion it does happen. But for the most part, ain't nobody going to do nothing. And even if they did do something, it would be foolish. Because here's the thing about all that. Let me explain it before I go on with the story. Here's the thing about that. When you're playing games with your life, when you're participating in the genocide of your own people, take responsibility for that. Don't try to blame somebody else for a decision that you made. They're not lying on you. They're telling the truth. And you say, well, because they were doing it with you, they shouldn't say no. Come on, stop being silly. Stop being stupid. Stop being naive. We're not children anymore. It's not how it goes. Take responsibility for what you do. You want to say, well, I would have never got caught if they wouldn't have told on me. Well, what about the mother that was buying dope? What about the father that was buying dope from you? Those children deserve their parents to be at home. Think about what you did to them. And stop talking about what happened to you because somebody turned states and told on you. Your butt had to go accept and pay responsibility for what you did. But let me get back to the story. Because I don't want to start preaching. I don't want y'all to get mad at me thinking I'm preaching to you because everybody's grown. We make our own decisions. I'm just trying to tell you what it is, what it really is, so you don't end up in the penitentiary like me for the rest of your life. You feel me? You don't want to end up in here like this. I've been in here for going on 35 calendar years, and it's not fun. Ain't nothing fun about it. But check this out. So now, Jason, he still got the plug, y'all. You remember I told you about that, maintaining that plug. He still got his plug. And with that, he still got the streets. Yeah, they talk about him, like I said, but he still got the moves. He's still able to make things happen for other people so that he gets sort of a pass. Now with Melissa, check this out. Melissa, she's sticking around, but she's not happy like she used to be. But she can deal with it. She's going to accept that, and she's going to keep it moving, right? She's going to keep it moving. So at the end of the day, Melissa ends up getting pregnant. She ends up getting pregnant. Now, when a woman gets pregnant, listen to me. It's the most beautiful thing. Their whole mind changes. If they were taking risks before, they usually say, look, enough is enough. We have to do something to make sure that our child is going to be straight. So she's telling Jason these things. She's like, I want out of this. We need to quit this. We got enough money. We need to go somewhere else, buy a house, do something, get away from this, and be parents to our child. Jason don't want to hear that. He don't want to hear that. So the closer she gets to having this baby, the closer she gets to making a decision to leave him. Yeah, she's been thinking about it for a long time, but now, with their baby on the way, she makes sure that she's got to take care of the child. So she's telling him, look, I cannot continue to do this. What are you going to do? And he tells her, look, I'm going to just do this for another year. I'm going to do it. He keeps saying all of these things about what he's going to do eventually. But she's looking at him and she's already at the point to where she don't believe nothing that comes out of his mouth. Nothing. She don't really believe nothing that he says. He's shown that she can't trust him. So she makes a decision to look, it's about over with. But he does something like a lot of people in the streets that makes it easy for her. She comes home one night. She's been over to her mom's house. You know, she's pregnant, so she's spending a lot of time around her mom and talking to her mom about what she needs to do. And her mom is encouraging and supporting, and her father is as well. And they're telling her, look, whatever decision you make, we got you. We got you. You know what I'm saying? But the problem with this, she's been with Jason all this time and she hasn't been working. So he's been providing all the financial support that she's had over the last few years. So she really doesn't have any money. She hadn't been putting anything up. So if she does leave, she's basically going to leave with what she's got and what she can put to the side, you know, because she started taking some of the money and putting it up so she can have a stash when she leaves. So she comes home from her mother's house, from her parents' house. She walks into the house and guess what she sees, y'all? Jason is in the house. She hears this sound. You know what it sounds like when somebody's making love to somebody. She hears the sound and the breathing and the talking and the sound of two bodies crashing into each other. She hears that. And now she starts to tiptoe. She don't want nobody to hear it because she believes that it's Jason. It would have to be. This is their house. She wants to see it. So she walks up the steps, slowly walks down the hall to the room, pushes the door open just enough to see. And she sees him. He's standing up in her. He got her legs up in the air. She can't see the girl because her head is buried into the bed and the pillows on the side. All she sees is Jason's back dominating this woman. He's deep in her. He's riding, pushing. And she sees it. And guess what? She didn't even get upset. She saw this as enough confirmation that she was about to make the right decision. So she walks back downstairs, she gets into the car, and she leaves. She leaves. She goes back to her mother's place, stays the night, tells her mother and father what happened, what she saw. She stays the night. She's not even crying. She's not even crying. She's so concerned about her child that she's making sure that she stays calm and peaceful. The next day, she goes home. Her mother goes with her. Jason is there. He's trying to pretend like, where were you at? What's going on? This, and that. And she just tells him simply, says, I saw you. I came home last night and I saw you in our bed with another woman. He looks at her and he looks at her mother and he lies. And she said, look, you don't have to lie anymore. She said, I'm done. I'm just here to get my stuff and I'm leaving. He doesn't even get up from the table. He doesn't say anything. He puts his head down like a coward. She grabs all of her stuff. Her mother helps her. He doesn't even help her. She packs all of her stuff up, takes it out to the car, gets into the car, and she leaves. And she's done. She's done. When a woman decides she's had enough, I'm telling you, it is one of the most beautiful things because it's empowering to them because they take back what they had given away. When a woman gives you all of herself, brothers, listen to me. It is the most beautiful thing. It is something that should be cherished. We all fumble and drop the ball. But listen to me, man. Think about when whoever your significant other is, think about when they gave themselves to you in every way and how that made you feel. Now flip that around and think about how that made them feel. How does it feel? Think about that. And when they take that back, that's a very, very bold thing to do. It takes a lot of courage. And she did that. She did that. She didn't know what her future held for, but she wasn't afraid of the future. And she left it. And she moved on with her life. But look here. I'm going to stop right here on this one. But I got another episode coming up because you got to follow this story. You got to know what happened with her, Jason, and Cory. Because it's just getting good, right? It's just getting good. This has been another episode of Doing Time with Joe. I'm your host, Joe Baker, and I say peace, y'all.